It's time for Remodel Revolution. And now, an award-winning contractor with over 40 years experience. Here is Alex Guthrie.
Welcome to another episode of Remodel Revolution. We're coming to you from the world headquarters of Remodel Revolution, deep in the heart of Texas, where we're all proud to be from. Hey, I have a great show today. I have a real good friend of mine, Bruce Graf Developments. Bruce is a big time remodeling contractor in Dallas. Everybody knows who he is, and most of his clients still talk to him. So hey, he's really winning the battle. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Bruce is going to be our co-host, our guest co-host today. So I'm so glad I could get him in here. We're going to talk a little bit about the weather repair. I'm calling it weather repair. The repair effort going on from the tornado we had recently. Bruce and I are going to talk a little bit about that, kind of where things stand with that. Also, we're going to do a remodeler's tip that is near and dear to my heart because I have a client that lives out of the country, and I'm doing some work on their house here in Dallas. And so it's an interesting way to do business these days. And the reason that I'm so excited about it is because I keep talking to you about how the internet and social media and all that stuff, but primarily just the internet, is changing the way we do business every day with all of our businesses, but in particular, my business of remodeling homes. And this is a great example of how the internet is such a fantastic tool that's available to us when we can communicate with people virtually anywhere in the world in a nanosecond. Pick up the call. Now, they're 13 hours ahead of us, so I was just telling Bruce, when I'm having coffee, when I talk to him, they're having wine. So the conversation can get kind of interesting. Also, we need to talk about the right time, the timelines for the rebuilding effort of what's going on in North Dallas and surrounding areas that were hit. It doesn't really matter where you are, but there's some timelines, some things that have to happen before people are ready to rebuild. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But first, let's talk about our remodeler tip. So over the years, I've had a few people that I've worked for that were had dual residences. Now, if you're in the States, you may have a dual residence that is maybe you're in a high tax state and you want to spend 6 months plus 1 day in the low tax state, so that's the rate you're paying. And we call those nice folks tax refugees. Now, someone like me, I'll never have enough money that will matter. Bruce, on the other hand,
I've got tons of money.
how many houses do you have?
I've got at least 7 houses. They're scattered. At least that's what I dreamed about this morning.
So you're going to be the newest lotto winner.
Yeah.
Me. So you and my wife.
I have been for the past 20 years. Was going to be.
Yeah. Well, y'all need to get together on that because I'm tired of waiting.
It's positive thinking. You have to have positive thinking.
And before, when I've done this, usually I'll either have the homeowner here while I'm doing the work, but in this case, the homeowner actually lives in Hong Kong. And so we're going in and making decisions together and having Zoom conferences and FaceTime and communicating that way to get this project done. It's not a super complicated project, but nonetheless, there still has to be selections made and all sorts of decisions made from design and so forth. And it is phenomenal how much easier it is now than in days past.
It is, because we're not waiting. We are able to get information right away. If my designer needs information right away, she asks me something, she can text me, she can email me, call me. It's right then. If I need to show her something, I'm on the job site and I've got a little problem, a little hickey here, I need to run by her, I can FaceTime and just sit there and show her, this is the issue we've got. How would you like to see this?
Well, and you can communicate on products and things like that. You can share a screen on it, or you can have kind of instant responses for questions like that. Now, there is one thing. So you put us both up on that screen again. See there? I wanted to let our audience know that really the best remodeling contractors have no hair.
I knew you were going there. I could tell you were headed that way. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. I used to have it back when I was younger and less experienced. So that has something to do with this.
No, I listen, here's what I have been telling people, and it's very true. When I started, they go, how long have you been in this business? I go, well, when I started in this business, I had a full head of hair and a six-pack.
Yeah.
And now I have graduated to a head and a keg.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see, that's the deal. I'm not even a drinker, and this happened.
I'm not either. That's age, brother. Wisdom, I mean. Wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. I eat a third of what I used to. I don't drink, and this still happens. I don't get it.
Ain't it great?
It's like
it's a sign of a successful man in most countries.
That's what I keep reading that.
Yeah, Confucius say.
Yeah, I don't think that I agree with that necessarily, but
okay. Well, I'm sorry. I just broke right out of that conversation, and that's a big no-no. But you get the point with the communication on the internet with clients. And this it really holds true, whether you're in a different country, a different state, or in the same town, or for that matter, in the same room.
yeah.
Yeah. So how do you, in your remodeling business, give us a couple of ideas on how the internet and all this new stuff is affecting your business?
Well, like you say, everything happens a lot faster now. And one other thing that we get to do now is I'll use House, if you're familiar with House, Houzz. Now designers can pull up ideas that they're having and save them on board.
Too many ideas, I might say.
They have tons, but I'll tell you what is great about this is they'll pull these up and then they'll invite me and the homeowner, and we can look at that, and it gives us all an idea of where the designer is going with this. Because a lot of times when they're talking to us, they're trying to convey an idea, and I'm not quite getting it in the verbiage that they're using. But in a picture, I can see exactly where she's going with it, and then from then on, I know where she's leading us in this.
Well, and you're not having to wait on an architect to draw something and things like that. It's beautiful the way that it can work, and I've experienced that as well.
Yeah. Plus, now I can throw in my ideas. Now I know where you're going, which road we're going down. I can start throwing out. Here's what we can do to make this job so much better.
I like the mute part. So you're on your phone, you've got the designer and the homeowner, and you're listening to this thing going back and forth, and you're thinking you just really want to say something. You hit the mute button and you go, that is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And then you unmute it and go, that is a beautiful plan.
Fantastic. How did you come up with that? That is incredible how you thought of that.
Wow, man. Yeah. You're really educated.
Yeah.
So I'm kidding to all my clients that I love so much. I've never done that. Never.
No, I will tell you, generally, I will tell them to their face or to their ear. I will give them my 2 cents, and I'll tell you this. My wife, I am honest with my clients. When they throw out something I think is the wrong idea, I will tell them it's the wrong idea.
But you mute your wife. You never tell her it's a bad idea.
No. I tell my wife, no. I do the same thing. I'm very consistent. But the thing is, my wife says, you would never tell this to your client. And I say, absolutely, call them and ask them if I don't tell them exactly what I'm thinking. Because my job is to be honest with them. And if I think they're going down the wrong trail, if I think they've got a bad idea and it's not going to work, or it shouldn't be done, that's my job to tell them that.
You're absolutely right, and I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
No. I think most of us, most really good contractors
but no,
do.
you have to.
Yeah.
You have to be, and they depend on us for that.
Absolutely.
They really do. If they don't value your opinion, they shouldn't have hired you.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
And
That's
you've
why
been
they
around
wanted
as
me.
long as you and I have. We have a little bit of knowledge that they should listen to always. So
Yeah, in the early days, you can be a yes man when you're trying to build something, but when you don't know anything. But at this point, I'm way beyond that, and I'm going to tell you what I think, because ultimately, what we're going for is the absolute best outcome in this job that we can get. And the only way to do that is to be honest and tell them or the designer, I think we're going the wrong way here, and we need to do something else.
no, I totally agree with that. And so I one of the things about remodeling in particular is that it is and I've always said this, it is a series of obstacles and how to overcome them.
Yeah.
Because my favorite little line that I'm actually using in my book I'm writing is, your house was not built to be remodeled.
Right.
And every remodeling contractor knows that. Yeah. And if they don't, they need to get in a new line of business, because essentially what we do is we make a change to something that wasn't built to be changed. And it is absolutely from day one, how do I overcome this challenge to make this work?
Yeah. And I'll tell you something else. Where it comes to experience, guys that have been doing this for a long time, through the years, different building practices have happened. The house has been built slightly different. And because we've been doing this for so long, when we go to look at remodeling a house, we look at the age of this house and generally overall how it was built. And we generally know how this wall was constructed, what's inside the wall, how the direction of the ceiling joists, things like this. We know this based on, again, the age of the house and what the building practices were at that time. And it takes somebody that has a lot of years of experience to know that. We have balloon framing. That goes way back at early 1900s. So we have to know that ahead of time so that we can be as accurate as we can with our
When we
proposal,
work, those of us that work on older homes, and that's a great point Bruce just brought up. Older homes were built totally different for different reasons.
Knob and tube.
Yeah. And so it's like a lesson in history. It honestly is.
It is.
It's the tradesmen that we had, the artisans that built the older homes. I learned to build a house doing the foundation, the framing, the roofing, the electrical. We did everything and these were usually smaller homes or additions, but the guy that taught me, that's what he did. He was old school from in the East, and we did the concrete work, we did the sheetrock and the framing, we did everything, all the way through the roofing. We did that entire house. We painted it. And so it was great training, because you learn how to connect all the dots, and then you have in your mind, you know exactly what to expect if you're going to tear into one of them.
Yeah.
But then there's the history part. There's the houses that were built in the 20s and 30s out of plaster, that what Bruce was saying is balloon framing means it's a hollow wall, basically.
Yeah.
It's built all the way from the ground to the very highest point of the highest stud, a big hollow wall, but there was a reason for that.
Yeah.
And that was to get air in those walls as the houses were plaster.
Yeah.
And so they did that for a reason. So then you get into knowing why the plaster needs to have air behind it. So when a homeowner comes up and or a designer, whoever says, well, Alex, just go in and cover it up, add air conditioning. You go, whoa, wait a minute. We're going to have a mold problem in about 6 months. Yeah. So this is part of the remodeling experience that I love. This is the part of it that I love.
I do too. I like what I call the forensics. When we go in and start tearing out, and then I can see through the years, other people have remodeled, and I start to rebuild. I can see in my head how this house was originally built, and what they did to it through the years. You can see there used to be a window here, a door here, used to be an attic or whatever. I kind of like doing it, and I do that all the time. Whenever I go through an old West Texas town or something like that, you can see the outsides of
You
these
kind of
buildings.
deconstruct
You
it.
do. You
Yeah.
deconstruct. I like figuring out what this building looked like before anybody touched
Well,
it.
and you appreciate the quality that people built when they
Yeah.
built these things.
Oh,
The
man.
quality that was built into this with no power tools.
Yeah, it's
It was
incredible.
all done by hand. It's
Huge
an amazing
difference to-
So let's move on to one other topic. We're going to continue this in a few minutes. I want to talk a little bit about this storm rebuild because I'm having people calling me wondering when, like subs calling me saying, hey, when should I go up into this damaged area and solicit business from builders? Is it too early? And I'm like, yeah, it's early. So let's talk a little bit. Bruce and I were going to talk a little bit about sort of the process that takes place that you need to sort of be a little patient. First of all, Bruce brought up a great point when we were discussing this pre-show about all of the people, the caravans of people coming into our area right now from other parts of the
Oh,
country.
they flooded like lawyers. They're coming up from all parts of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi,
Florida.
and they're here, and they are pouncing. They are passing out business cards right and left, and like Alice said, you don't want to hire some guy that is going to be taking off anytime soon. He
The
needs
next
to
storm,
be here.
the next hurricane, they're gone. Boom, bye, see you.
Yeah.
Nice knowing you.
Yeah. Plus, he didn't have any guys here. He doesn't have subs. He didn't know any of the suppliers, anything like that.
Right.
There's just a lot of headaches involved with guys like that or sweeping in from everywhere.
Well, and the headaches are down the road.
Yeah.
When you need them back.
Yeah, exactly. When he did something wrong.
Yeah.
And how you can't get him here to fix it because he doesn't live here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So
You got to watch
be
that.
real careful about that. So basically, the way I see the timeline, and there's plenty of experts, insurance companies, people like that may differ with me to some degree, but this is my experience having been through this several times. There is a period of time right after these storms when the first thing you do after you've kind of come back to reality as much as you can after your house has been damaged or in some cases destroyed, where you've called your insurance company and that's the first call you make. Call your insurance company and go, man, I really need you guys. Blah blah blah, and they go, okay, this thing was so big we can't get there until the end of next week, maybe 5 days later, maybe whatever. In this case, it was like the end of that week before they were some of them were able to get to them all. Then they go through a process where they have to assess the damage and then they have to put it into their system to see what's covered and what's not covered. Now, some insurance companies, there's a couple of really good ones that they probably charge a little more, but they'll tell their customer, depending on how they've had their house insured, whatever needs to be done, don't worry about it. This is what we're going to put in here. And then if you run into some other issues that we didn't see, let us know and we'll cover it.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case.
There's not. This is where you get to see which insurance companies shine and which ones to stay away from.
Or your bad decisions
Yeah.
when you called up your insurance agent and said, I need to get $200 a month out of that insurance coverage so I can get a new bass boat. And
Yeah.
tornado's never going to hit this area. Knock it on there.
You know what's interesting? Not to get off that, but a friend of mine who lives over in that area, her house was destroyed, but she said she'd walked through some houses nearby that from all appearances, nothing had happened to it. But when she walked inside, all of the ceilings had been pulled away from the top plates because the tornado tried to pull the roof
Tried to lift
off.
it. Yeah.
So there's a lot of unseen damage going on there.
Structural too.
Yeah,
That's structural.
exactly.
That's serious stuff.
Yeah, slight twisting. All of suddenly your doors don't line up.
Yeah. Fences. When you see your fence bowed out, the one I'm doing, fence bowed out. There's an alley behind it, and the fence bowed out all the way to the alley. The homeowner hooked it up to his truck and pulled it back in, so it's standing safely now. But my point is the wind. That's the wind.
Yeah.
That was the wind that did that.
Yeah.
And so the wind does really weird things to these structures. Bruce is right. It'll twist them. It'll lift them. It pulls stuff loose. So anyway. They have to go through the insurance company has to go through a process where they can assess as much of this as they can. They understand they can't get it all. But this whole process takes at least a couple of weeks.
Oh, I think a lot
And
longer.
these are big houses.
Yes, people are still actually looking for places to live temporarily while all this is being decided on.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to find other places besides hotels and all of this. They're going to some of the real estate people that have houses that they're trying to get rid of that can temporarily house people for a while.
Lease them out or something. Yeah, for sure. So that's going to happen. And then you're going to go through the process of getting quotes. So this is what's happening. This is so typical. I'm doing it right now for a friend of mine. Alex, we're about to get our numbers from the insurance company. Will you give us a estimate to do this work that we just want to have something to compare to? And so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that to a point, but I tell everybody, I will not defraud the insurance company. That's not what this is about. I'll give you or attempt to defraud anybody. I will give you a cost breakdown as much as I can, but I'm not going to spend much time on it.
Yeah.
Because all of the guys from Houston and Florida, Louisiana, they're all going to give you one too. And so I'm not going to get into that basket of fish.
Bidding war. Yeah.
No.
It's not worth it.
So there is a period of time where you need to be kind of patient. We're kind of at that period of time. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Bruce and I are going to talk some more remodeling. We'll be right back. The hardest working and arguably most important system in our homes is our air conditioning and heating system. It heats the air, it cools the air, and it filters the air. That's why it's so critical to have it checked and maintained by the very best professionals available. It's time to contact Total Air and Heat at totalair.com. Get that system pruned and tuned. If you want to have the very best experience, you've got to hire the very best company. Total Air's employees are honest, well-trained, and thoroughly background checked. I never have to worry about sending their technicians out to my clients' homes. Family owned and operated for 3 generations, Total Air and Heat has been a fixture in North Dallas for over 60 years. Total Air is a proud dealer of the Trane air conditioning systems, and you know how hard it is to stop a Trane, so give them a call at 972-881-0020. That's 972-881-0020, or contact them at totalair.com today. The remodeling industry has had major changes in the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years, particularly since, for some reason, it seems like since about 2010, there's been major changes. And a lot of it has to do with the internet and how we communicate and things like that. Today I have with me my good friend Bruce Graf, and Bruce is a very successful remodeling contractor in Dallas. He does a lot of big projects. He's well respected. And I invited Bruce to come in, and we'll just wanted to talk about kind of remodeling in general, some of the things he's experiencing, and some of the there's a little good, there's a little bad about all of it. So welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Great. One of the things that we were talking about a little while ago before the show is I asked you to give me some of your pet peeves that are going on right now in your remodeling business.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you brought up was a lack of communication. And I went, yeah, those homeowners. No. Bruce says, no, I'm not talking about the home. He says it's everybody. So
It is.
Explain to us.
The things are just different. Today we are moving faster. But when we need information, we're sitting there waiting for something. If I text somebody, I need some kind of communication back. If I text my guys, the guys that work for me, and I'll say, I need you to meet me at this such and such job at 10:30, and then I don't hear anything from them.
You
And they
need to
don't hear
know.
anything
You
from
need
them.
to, even if it's I can't be there.
Well, and what I've told them though is I said from now on, just send me okay. Just send me a thumbs up.
I do the
anything.
thumbs up.
Yeah, I was going to say, just send me a thumbs up. Anything, let me know that
I
you
like the
got
thumbs
it.
up thing too, because when
Yeah.
you play it back, right? When you play it back, it says thumbs up, light skin tone. Really?
Yeah, I haven't noticed that one.
No, you ought to play it back. It
haven't
tells you the
noticed that
skin
one.
tone now.
Yeah.
It was pretty. I thought it was
Yeah.
hilarious.
But it's subcontractors. I will text them, and then I'll email, and then I'll leave them a voice message. And I understand. I'm not needing something immediately. You don't have to respond in anything more than I got your message. That's what I want. I want to know. Otherwise, I'm waiting. I could be waiting for something
It's
that you
holding up
never got.
everything else you have going on for the day.
Yeah, it is. I need some kind of response.
Yeah.
Communication, and it seems to be a generational thing. See, back in the day, which wasn't that long ago, we
For us.
actually picked up the phone and called people and talked to them. You know, everything you talk to them verbally, but now people don't feel a need to actually talk that way. We do it with their fingers.
Well, because they can text you, regardless of where they are.
but now they're afraid to talk to you on the phone.
No. We've got our communication skills are way more than just lacking. A lot of people just have sort of the Twitter communication. I can say anything to this person that I want, and they'll never know who it is. I got news for you. I know who you are. So
You're
be
exactly
nice.
right. Yeah.
Be nice.
Yeah.
But communication. I don't know if you've experienced this, but I met, this is a couple years ago, and I met with a young, actually it was the wife, and she was trying to, and I'm in her living room. We'd never met, you know.
Right.
And I go, what is it that you want to do? And the entire time I'm talking to her, she's doing this. So the entire time, the entire 20-minute conversation, she is texting somebody. And I don't know if she's texting her husband saying, get this old fool out of my living room, or who called him, or he wants to know what you want. I have no idea, because she never looks up at me.
Yeah.
And so I'm going, okay, what do you want to do here? She's still looking down at her phone. Well, we want to do, we want to do something here and something here. And what do you, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. She's so invested in the project. Yeah. She can't take her eyes off
Now,
the
you
phone.
and I, we like to look at them eye to eye. I do.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of other things I read into that conversation.
Exactly.
I want to see her.
exactly right.
I want to see her if she's going to squirm a little bit, or him or whoever.
Yeah.
Are they going to squirm a little bit? Or are they going to, you can see it in their eyes, and they're going, wow, that was a great idea I never heard about before. Things like that.
Plus, you can tell their excitement level of this project, why they called you in the first place. If they are so sick of this kitchen and they are ready for something, that's all they want to talk about. What kind of ideas can you come up with to help me here? Yeah, but if they're looking at their phone constantly, they're not there.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Bruce and I are going to continue talking about this. I'm going to get caught up on our breaks here. So we'll be right back in about 60 seconds. Sometimes it's a question of do I call or don't I call the foundation repair company? Well, what if I tell you that I know a foundation repair company that will tell you if you don't need foundation repair? That's right. Hargrave and Hargrave Foundation Repair has been in business for over 50 years, and they know the difference. One of the last family-owned foundation repair businesses in North Texas. Not only are they honest, they know what causes your foundation to move, and they know how to fix it. Don't be duped by fly-by-night foundation companies that provide shortcuts and messy fixes. Call Hargrave and Hargrave Foundation Repair at 972-442-3415. At the first sign of trouble, Hargrave uses the Chance helical pier system exclusively because it's the highest quality, most reliable helical pier money can buy. 972-442-3415 or contact them at hargravefoundation.com. Communication is key to any construction project, whether it's a new home or a remodel, and whether it's large or small. And Bruce and I were just talking about how communicating with our clients and some of our vendors can be frustrating and challenging. And part of it is that there's just a new way of communicating a lot of times, and different people do different ways. So it's not a judgmental thing or a negative or positive. It's just kind of was what it is. One of the things that affects remodeling projects and new home projects, but more so remodeling, is homeowner, how they want to participate in the process, because it's so intense really from day one. But there becomes a point towards the finish when you really hit, if there's an issue, that's when you're going to find it.
Yeah, yeah. You're talking about possible problems or how a homeowner affects the outcome of a project. I have had, I'm going to say, bad clients. They're not bad people, but they're not really great to
Challenging
work for.
clients.
Yeah. And I've had some just outstanding ones. And the difference, I'll tell you, here's the deal. Let me give you this one story. I did this one job. It was a big master bathroom remodel. And it was on another wing of the house. And the wife kept turning, it was in the middle of the summer, and we were demoing this bathroom, and she turned off all the air conditioning. And it was 106 degrees, and we were just sweating, and I wanted some airflow, and she kept going back there and turning it off. And we put extra screens over the
Put filters over the return
and all this.
area.
We're protecting them, but I need some kind of movement. She kept turning that off, and what that does is it messes up the morale of every guy that's working on that job.
All they're thinking about is how hot they are.
Yeah, and they don't want to. Yeah, and they don't want to be there. They just simply don't want to be there. And but then I've had other clients, and this honestly is the majority of them are saying, guys, I've got a refrigerator out in the garage full of water. It is yours. You do whatever you want, have as much as you want. You let me know how much air you need, whatever. And that it makes an enormous difference in how this job turns out.
I like the ones that cook.
I've had that.
So
I have had that.
So they'll go, can I make them like cookie? I go, look, if you want them there early, make them breakfast. Yeah. And if you want them to work a nice full day, make them dinner.
Oh man. Oh, listen, I had one lady that cooked steaks for us. She did barbecue. Every day she did something, a huge deal, and she had a great large back patio, and we would cover that table every day, and she loved it. And now the thing about this is, we were remodeling her kitchen. Her kitchen was gone. She was going next door and using the next door neighbor's kitchen to cook all of this.
Was she married?
And bring it. Yeah, she was. A super nice lady. And then we had another lady that she would grind our coffee beans, make us fresh coffee,
pastries,
and she would have almond horseshoe pastries. She would create her own cream, and what she would do is she'd take the coffee cup, and she'd grind it in brown sugar, and she'd pour it with this fresh ground coffee, and then she would put this fresh made cream on top of that, and then give us this plate of these cookies every morning.
Was she a Quaker?
She's German. Yeah, she's German. Heidi, I remember Heidi. Everybody remembers Heidi.
Everybody loves Heidi.
Oh, we love Heidi. She was so great. So that makes a huge difference on how a job turns out, because every guy wants to be there.
Yeah.
And because we love Heidi, we're going to make sure everything we touch is done perfect.
I hired this young, very cute woman. I guess you can still say that in the year 2019.
For another year.
Yeah. And I hired her to be like an assistant to the homeowners, and she was great at it. I mean, it was like, I thought, I'll just hire this woman, young lady, and she can go and just help them do stuff, pick out tile, and not as a designer, but just be sort of like their girl Friday.
Right.
And she ended up, it got to where she would show up on the job sites in the morning with maybe donuts, for the workmen and everything. Well, one day she came up to me and she said, we got a little problem. She said, I've had like 3 of these guys propose to me. And they were serious. And she had to tell one of them, she goes, but Jose, you're married. He goes, that's okay. I can get rid of her. But no, it's great having clients like that. And one of the things that I love about this industry that's really different from the new home industry is that we end up getting to know each other a lot.
Oh,
The
yeah.
workmen, you know, it almost becomes like a family.
It is. It absolutely is. And I have clients that will say, I dreaded you guys showing up, and now I dread you guys leaving.
Yes, I
because
get it all the
I
time.
know every guy that you have, and they're all fantastic
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And I've heard about their kids or whatever, and now and my pets love your guys, and so
And they take them for walks, and
Yeah.
we've picked kids up from school.
I have to. We helped one lady. She lost one of her pets. Her dog died, unfortunately, while we were doing the remodel. And you know what? We took care of that for her. We loaded that. I called her, said, "Don't come home. I'm going to take care of this for you." I didn't want her to have to come home. It was a close dog, and we took care of that before they got home.
You have to tell the workmen to quit feeding them chocolate.
Take the wrapper off.
No more McDonald's for the dogs, man. You're killing them. Well, one of the things that makes remodeling super challenging, even from day one, is changes. When you change the scope of one thing, you're actually changing the scope of everything that often came before it.
Yeah.
But always what's coming after it.
Absolutely.
And so when you change something that you might think is just minor, and it might look minor on the surface, but that changes the metrics for the entire project.
It does. Everything that you've just built up to that point that was gearing up for one particular thing is now going in a completely different direction. Now you have to tear it out.
Yeah. Now, we're not saying that we hate changes. We expect changes.
Yeah.
We expect them because, again, your house wasn't built to be remodeled.
Right.
So that's all you're doing is making changes. I mean, effectively, that's what Bruce and I do. We change stuff
Constantly. That's what it is. Yeah.
And go ahead.
But no, it does affect. I will say, watch letting your friends and family come through on a daily basis, because every one of them has a different opinion. We already have a plan. See, none of this happens by accident. You've been working with the designer and the contractor for months up to that point, so you already know what this is going to look like. We've walked through all the problems ahead of time, and then these people, they come through and they've got good intentions, but they start throwing out their ideas, or they keep thinking, they'll say, maybe you shouldn't do that, whatever. You have no idea how many problems that causes when people start throwing out their opinions.
It takes the client's confidence away
Completely.
And I have had clients, I know you've had them. I had one in particular. We're doing a huge project, multi-million-dollar project, and would not make a decision until she went to 3 or 4 of her girlfriends' houses and checked out how they did it. And I'd go, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
We're here to do it better than they did it. That's why you hired us.
Just stop doing it. It will make everybody crazy.
Absolutely.
Me, your husband,
All the
everybody.
subs, all the subs.
And then you're going to start complaining because I'm not making progress, and the cost is going to. And you're like, well, I'm doing what you told me you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, those changes. And again, we do expect changes. That's part of it. It is remodeling. And that's not to say that if you find that as we're going and you're out shopping at an old antique store and you came across this really great piece of furniture that maybe we can do something with this, turn it into a vanity we hadn't considered. I love things like that.
Sure.
I love challenges. I love being creative.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're talking about, really, when we're talking about these changes. But I like those types of changes.
Mm-hmm. And as do I. I think that what makes a remodeler a good remodeler is that we're all super creative. You just have to be. If you're not, you need to just go build new houses.
Right.
Follow the instructions.
That's exactly right. And a lot of contractors, a lot of remodelers are not creative, and honestly, they couldn't care less how it turns out. All they want to do is, I'm going to help you get from A to Z, and then I'm going to move on to the next job. Right. You just tell me what you want in here, and I'll put it in here. I really don't care how it turns out. But a really good remodeler, that's the importance is is the outcome. That's what we are after. And even if it ends up costing us a little bit of money, there are times it costs me a little bit of money, but I know if it's the proper way to do it, and the outcome is going to be spectacular, I'll go ahead and do that. I'll pay it
Now,
out.
when you do, tell me your opinion of cost plus versus fixed cost on budgeting.
Yeah, I do hardly any, I won't say never, but I hardly ever do any cost plus. For me, I like to give you a turnkey price. That includes all product and everything. When you see the bottom line number, that's what this job is going to cost you. And it is just so much, it is so much better. The homeowner knows exactly what this is going to cost. Now, this is where those changes come into play. When you start making those changes, this hard number
You just turned it into a cost plus.
Yeah, you just change things. Now, what I do when you start making changes is I create what we call change orders. I just call them extras, and we keep up with those over here in another line. I keep the original as it was, and I make changes in a different proposal. But the cost plus, here's what happens with that. And I don't want to draw a broad picture about all contractors, but a lot of contractors will take that as an opportunity to start adding up lots of time and numbers that they are not really doing. It's just too much leeway for not doing things correctly that way. And again, I have done it. There are times when a customer has changed things so constantly that I have absolutely no choice.
Well, I mean, like the one I'm doing right now with these folks, we're doing cost plus. And part of the reason is because they hired me. They went out to go back to the other country they live in.
Yeah.
And there wasn't time to make all these decisions. So we have a general idea. But I'll tell you, I had a lady email me, and she had agreed to, she hired a contractor to do some work on her house, and she had agreed to a range of cost. It could be from this number to this larger number. Guess what number it came out at?
Yeah.
And not only that, it came out higher than that number.
Yeah.
And she's emailing me going, what do I do? What do I do? Is it fair? Should I do this and that? I was going to read it on air, but I'm not going to. It's a little too personal for that. But if you have, I prefer fixed costs.
Yeah.
But when I get into a cost range, a certain range of cost or a certain scope of a project, I feel uncomfortable trying to do fixed costs just because I can't anticipate every single thing that they're going to want.
No, there are times you can't.
Yeah.
I'll go back when I first was associated with that. I grew up working for my dad. My dad was a contractor, and back when Dallas was on, TV show Dallas was on, we remodeled the South Fork Ranch, and the homeowner came to my dad and asked him if we would remodel South Fork. And when he started laying out the scope of all the work and what we were going to be doing. Dad said, "Look, I don't have a choice but to do this as a cost plus."
Right.
And it's a good thing, and it's a good thing he did because it kept stretching, which was great. We ended up remodeling the entire house from one end to the other, and it actually turned out far better than they had originally anticipated because since we didn't have fixed numbers in this case, he was able to keep going with it, and that worked out really well. But most of the time, that doesn't work out
Well, let me explain on cost plus. This is a great discussion,
Yeah.
incidentally. My view on cost plus, I go in with a budget always. We always go in with a budget. We think it'll be approximately that. We're going to be within 10, 15% of that if you don't make a ton of changes, but it could go higher, or I would say it could go lower, and that may have happened once in history.
Yeah.
But I haven't experienced it yet. So this is a discussion that comes up a lot with people, particularly if they're doing larger jobs. If you're doing something, say under 100,000 or 100,000 or below, that's kind of my threshold. I'll just go, fine, I can do that fixed cost. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
But when I start getting up into these larger numbers, particularly if you add another zero to the end, then we're doing it cost plus.
Yeah.
But anyway,
You know, something else along those lines is allowances. Some people will say, well, look, I don't know what our tile, I don't know what our plumbing is. I don't know our
Right.
tiles. Give me an allowance. I hate doing allowances
Yeah.
because I don't know what to put in there, because when I give you an allowance for $6 a square foot or whatever for a tile, and then you come back with something that's $15 a square foot. Now I have to go back to you and say, this is going to cost you a whole lot more than I had
Right.
planned on. And people feel like you're taking advantage of them. And in some cases, some contractors, I'm sure, are.
Well, what I do is I give them all of that laid out. They have all that. They have an allowance sheet for everything that I can come up with. And I hand it to them and I go, here's your allowance. If you go over that, that's on you. If you on the same token, if I'm figuring a certain kind of standard tile and you come up with this El Bizarro handmade
Yeah.
in Europe tile that can't be, you're going to have to
Yeah.
pay for
Yeah.
that part of it too, which is the extra cost. And so I really appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Yeah, I
been
enjoyed
really
it.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. We'll have to do it again sometime.
We'll have to do it again.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the show, and I know you did, send some questions to me. Email me, alex@remodelrev.com, and ask some questions. We'll get Bruce back on here, and we'll have him, ask some tough questions. I mean, ladies and guys, ask some hard questions so we can stump the contractor. We want to take advantage of him next time and see if we can make him sweat.
I would like
That's
that.
never happened before.
Yeah. And let us know what kind of a menu you would come up with if we were working for you on your house.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good idea. We're going to pop up some resources for the tornado relief. I want you can check it out on my website and my Facebook page on Remodel Revolution on Facebook. And I got these off Channel 5. Thank you, Channel 5, for sharing these with us. But I thought it would be a good time right now to go ahead and put some of these opportunities to help people out. That's what most of this is about. There's a lot of people that are donating time. A lot of places you can donate money. You can volunteer. My suggestion is if you don't do any of this, that there's usually, and I haven't been through these neighborhoods lately looking at it in those terms, but usually in the past tornado events and things that I've been experienced, I'll go and spend a couple of hours on a Saturday or something and just volunteer to help clean trash out of the yard. I've noticed as I've been driving through these neighborhoods in North Dallas that there's still a lot of debris everywhere. And and people just are still really overwhelmed with what they're having to deal with. So they're always looking for some volunteers. And one of the things you can do, you can go to the local church. Go to the local church in the neighborhood, it's somewhere in that area, and see if they have some volunteers, programs, or anything like that, anything you can help out with. You can just go knock on a door, or if you see people out there doing something, you can just stop and help them. They usually appreciate it because right now it's as much a mental problem, challenge, as it is the actual physicality of the stress that they're all going under. I know in my experience right now with a couple of homeowners in that area, the stress is overwhelming. And part of it is that you just feel so vulnerable. Everything has turned upside down in your life. You've got other things you're dealing with in your life, but now you have to deal with this. And so it really helps having people around you that care and are there just to help. It's not all about the money. So thank you to Bruce Graf with Graf Developments. We're gonna pop his website up here real quick and show you how to get in touch with Bruce. That's been just a great show, a lot of great information. Give Bruce a call. He's a fantastic contractor. If he, says something that's offensive or otherwise, call me.
Right.
I'm just kidding. He'd never do that.
Not intentionally.
Also, check out alexguthrie.net. That's my website. I also remodel houses, and we would love to talk to you if you're doing any room additions, remodeling, storm repair, even a new house. If you want to do a new house and you're looking for a builder, give me a call. and we're always available, and we would love to talk to you. And next week, we've got a couple of ladies. We have a lady that's in Boston and another lady that's in Phoenix. We're going to do a couple of Zooms next week. One's a designer and one's a female remodeling contractor. We've had her on before, Allison Iantosca. And it's going to be a lot of fun, so I hope you'll look for us next week. And until then, this is Alex Guthrie checking out. Thanks for being part of the show. Oh, and thank you, Ziggy Becker, the man at the controls. And hope you have a great week, folks, and we'll see you next week.
You can catch Remodel Revolution anytime. Follow the show on the website, remodelrevolutionradio.com, or on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, using the handle @Remodel Revolution Radio. You can always listen to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and TuneIn. And watch the show anytime on YouTube.